Hi guys, this is your Tuesday ELA lesson for May 19th. We currently are in Unit 6, Week 2, which is kind of exciting because this is actually going to be our last week of ELA from doing it with like the books and stuff. And then next week I have a fun activity for us to plan. It's like a project-based learning, which is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited to do that with you guys. But what we're going to do right now, I am going to go over our ELA focus wall. I'm going to go over your pencil page, and I'm going to go over your Tuesday lessons, including your workbook pages that you get to work on. So the first thing I want you guys to do is pull out your May 18th through the 22nd, your schedule, and then turn to your pencil page. Let me go ahead and share that screen. Give me a second. Okay, so our pencil page for Unit 6, Week 2 is right here. Okay, so your stories you're going to be reading this week, you're going to be reading a story called My Light, which is an expository text, so it's going to be information. You are also going to be reading a story on Thursday called The Power of Water, expository text as well. And then Monday, you should have read a story called Pedal Power, which is your expository text. Just a reminder, My Light is going to be your selection test, and you have a hard copy of your selection test in your packets. I'm going to be going over all of these strategies with your ELA focus wall, so just give me a second for that. Our vocabulary words for the week, we have electricity, which is a form of energy. Energy, the ability to do work. Flows, runs like water. Haul, to carry something heavy. Power, energy that can do work. Silent, having no sound. Solar, having to do with the sun. And underground, beneath the earth's surface. So those are our vocabulary words of the week. Let's go ahead, and I'm gonna stop sharing this, and I'm gonna get into our ELA focus wall for the week. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. Okay, so let me grab all my stuff. Okay, so just a reminder, I'm going to share what you guys had done from your workbook, and then I'll give you guys a little video for the essential question stuff. But these are the things that you're going to be using to help you guys for your test on Friday. So just a reminder that these are strategies you guys want to keep in mind when you are reading this week. Okay, so our comprehension strategy for the week is to reread. This is not a new one. We've actually done this multiple times. Good readers reread the text when it doesn't make sense. So that's why I constantly am reminding you not to read the story just once, but to read it twice, possibly 3 times, because there's a lot of things that you guys may have missed the first time that you read it, and then the second time, you're not struggling too much on words that you don't know or just words in general. You guys are actually starting to read to comprehend. So we should be rereading this week, possibly 2 to 3 times, okay? Our comprehension skill for this week is going to be author's purpose. And author's purpose is the purpose why the author wrote it or wrote the story. Remember, an author writes a story. And when I'm asking about the purpose, you're trying to figure out what was the point of the author writing this? What did they want me to understand when I read this story? So author's purpose is I can tell what the author wanted me to learn. That's a little bit of a mistake right there. So especially when you're reading the stories this week, think about what was the point of you guys reading that? What was the author's point or trying to get you guys to understand as you're reading? So that's author's purpose this week. Okay, grammar. This week for grammar, we are going to be working on articles that compare. So when you're comparing 2 things, you're telling me how they're the same or how they're different. You're going to see words that are considered articles of comparing. So this or that. So do you want this for dinner or do you want that for dinner? Do you want to wear this? Do you want to wear that? I'm comparing them and I'm figuring out, I'm actually going to be able to make a choice with that. You're also going to see words like these or those. That's usually like in a larger group of stuff or more than one thing. So do you want these items or do you want those over there? So this and that is usually for singular items, and then these and those is typically for plural. Okay, so we're talking about articles that compare using this, that, these, and those. Let's see. Our genre for the week is expository text. Expository text is text that includes facts and information about real life topics. So this week, we're not going to be reading made up stories. It's going to be real things that kind of happen. And then there's typically going to be giving you guys information so you can learn something new. It's probably going to be about the author's purpose. Depending on what you're learning about, what the text is including is why the author wants you to learn about that. And some of the text features, which we're going to get into with your ELA lesson for Tuesday, sometimes you'll see like pictures with captions. You might see some graphs, some data charts. Those are just some things that you might find in expository text. So we're going to get into that a little bit. Let's see. Oh, vocabulary strategy. I skipped that one. Vocabulary strategy for the week is going to be using paragraph clues, using other words to figure out what the word means. So when you do not understand a word, you need to use what we've called before context clues, so words within a sentence. But instead of it just being in a sentence, we're now going to be using words in a paragraph. So where before you guys have used context clues, so I would give you a sentence and you would maybe tell me words that would give you hints for what a word means. This week, you're not going to be using sentences, but you're going to actually use an entire paragraph. So you're going to be able to find more clues and information by looking at the entire paragraph. So that is our vocabulary strategy for the week. Phonics. So for our spelling, we are working with CVC syllables. The C right here stands for consonant, vowel, consonant, and it has to end with the letter E. Consonant is basically every letter in the alphabet that's not a vowel. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y, but specifically A, E, I, O, U, and then every other letter that I did not list is going to be considered a consonant. So B, C, D, F, G, H, and so on. So we're going to be talking about consonant, vowels, consonant, E. So a consonant letter, a vowel letter, a consonant, and end with an E. So we're going to be talking about these for your spelling words, and then syllables are when you break up words by sounds. Let's go ahead and get back into sharing that page so I can go over your spelling words. So CVCE syllables, we have state. So just an example, we have a consonant, a vowel, a consonant ends with an E. So that's what I mean by CVCE words. So the S is not worried about right now, but we have a consonant, which is T, a vowel, which is a consonant, which is T, and then we're ending the word with an E. So consonant, vowel, consonant, E. So we have state, replace, 9. 90, side, sidewalk, face, outside, these, tadpole. Your bonus words, which are words that we've had before, and you already know how to spell, or should know how to spell. We have letter, magnet, alone, beside, and round. Some additional high frequency words. So these are the words that I have up on my, my word wall in my classroom. These are also the words I have you guys put in your dictionaries. Your high frequency words include alone, became, beside, for, hello, large, notice, round, suppose, and surprised. And then just some additional oral vocabulary words. We have charge, effects, rushes, slight, and streak. Okay. So that is your ELA focus wall for the week. I think I went over everything. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is just get straight into your Tuesday lesson. Let's try not to make this too long of a video. So what I need from you guys is definitely have out your schedule so you can check stuff off. Have out your turn practice workbook as well as a red pen because you're going to need that in a little bit. And let's just get straight into it. All right, so I'm done with this. I wanted to start off the week by kind of going over your essential question. Okay, so our essential question is, how do we use energy? So let's go ahead and start off by me showing you guys your essential question video.
We need energy. How do we use energy? We use energy all day long without thinking about it. Sophie and her mom are practicing math on a tablet. Tablets need energy, or power, to work. This tablet runs on a battery that has been charged with electricity. This blender also needs energy to work. It is plugged into an electrical outlet. Electricity helps us run many things around the house. Refrigerators, televisions, and lights all use electricity. Gasoline is another type of energy. Most cars use gasoline to help us get places. Take a moment to think of one way you've used energy today. Need help? You are using energy right now to watch this video.
So that's kind of an appropriate question, especially since we started online learning at home. You guys are using your computers pretty much all of your class time now because to do your like ELA, your math, and so on. So energy source right there is your Chromebooks or a laptop or a tablet or anything that you're using. I'm currently using my laptop right now and I have a light on. So that's the energy that I'm using. See the light right there. So it says energy sources. This boy is finding out information about the earth on his tablet. His tablet needs power to work. He charges the battery in his tablet with an electrical charge. Electricity comes from many sources. Electricity can come from solar power, so that's sun power. We've talked about solar power before. Remember we talked about the solar panels from a previous story with the family or the woman that lived in Arizona and she was bringing electricity to families that didn't have it in a village. So they were, instead of having all these electrical wires, they were getting energy from the sun using solar panels. So we know electricity can come from solar power or sun power, wind power, and other sources, which is really cool. Remember, this is everything that you had done yesterday on Monday. Once again, our vocabulary words for the week is electricity, energy, flows, fall, power, silent, solar, and underground. On Monday, you should have read a story called Pedal Power, and it was basically about how people produce and use energy. They talked about, this was an expository text, so they pretty much talked about how to create energy. So kind of think about what was the author's purpose when you read this. In the story, they talked about what energy was, and energy is the ability to do work. Some of the examples would be solar energy comes from the sun, and then they talked about a bunch of different ones too. So they talked about what energy was, and they talked about bicycle-powered energy, and they kind of showed you right here, which was a picture and little labels for the picture to show you guys like how this bicycle generator creates energy. So if I kind of zoom in right here, it had a generator and it was attached to a battery pack. Somebody sits on here and they pedal it, which kind of changes the wheel. The stand keeps the wheel from obviously going forward. And what happens is when you pedal, the rear wheels turns, and that kind of gets the generator moving, and then from there that motor moves and puts energy into this battery box right here. Okay, I thought that was actually really cool. Another thing we talked about was using bicycle powered energy. So they talked about what can you use that energy for. They talked about that people also exercise on bicycles to produce powers in gyms. So it's kind of cool that you're creating you're going to the gym to create, like to get a workout, right, to get healthy, and within that workout you're actually doing something good for the gym, but you're creating power, which I thought actually was kind of cool. They talked about that depending on the type of energy, they use the word watts to explain. A watt is a unit of measuring power. So remember, when we're measuring stuff, we could talk about measuring things in inches or in feet. Well, when you measure power, which is not something you could just physically pick up, power is measured in the word watts. Let's see what they talked about. It says a watt is a unit of measuring power. Small devices such as a small television or fans use less than 100 watts per hour. So that's just a little bit of watts that, help those little things power on. Then they talked about a larger appliance uses about 700 watts per hour, and those can include like a refrigerator. It also talked about other types of machines. Pedal power is popping up in schools, gyms, and homes. What a fun way to provide energy, which I thought was kind of cool because it's like, especially with the gym one, it talked about, working out, but also creating energy for that. These are just a couple pictures that talk about bicycle power can be used to power these appliances. So at home, you can power up a battery pack, and that battery pack can make your blender, make you some smoothies, or if anybody blow dries their hair, then you can use a blow dryer for that. So that was a really, really cool expository text we just read. Now getting into Tuesday's classwork, you had to do pages 390 wide. Oh my gosh, I totally wrote the wrong page, didn't I? Whoopsies, I am so sorry. I'll make the comment on Class Dojo that I wrote the wrong page for you guys. You actually should be doing 424. I apologize. So actually it should be page 424 through 25, 26, 27, 427. Sorry guys, I'll make that comment on Class Dojo for you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Remember, our strategy for comprehension this week is to reread, so not only to read it once, but twice. As you read, you may come across words, facts, or explanations that are new to you. A lot of times, if they're new to you, you might not understand it right away. So what they're asking you to do so you could better comprehend a story is to stop and reread these parts to make sure that you've understood them. So for example, it has a student right here that was talking about page 422 of pedal power. They weren't sure how pedaling a bike makes electricity, so what they did was they actually reread the story. So I'm going to reread it right here. Here's how bicycle-powered energy works. When a student pedals the bike, the rear wheel spins. The wheel spins the generator, and then the generator produces electricity. So because that was a lot of information, especially a lot of bigger words that maybe you guys don't use very often, by rereading it, you guys will be able to understand it. So what I like to do when I like to reread is I actually kind of like to create a picture in my head too. So then what I'm doing right now is I'm picturing or I'm visualizing a bicycle. And what I'm thinking about is me sitting on a bicycle and I'm pedaling it, right? I'm pedaling it, but I'm also on a stand, so I'm not moving anywhere. So here I am, I'm pedaling my bike. And as I'm pedaling my bike, the back wheel, the rear wheel is spinning, and that's spinning that little box or that little generator with like a cylinder type of thing. So my wheel is spinning, and that's causing the generator to spin, and that generator is hooked up to a battery box, and that electricity is put into that battery box, okay? So me personally, when I reread, I like to create a visual in my head, and sometimes I create visuals in my head because it helps me understand what I'm reading. Let's see. Comprehension skill this week is author's purpose. Authors write to answer, to explain, and to describe things. As you read, look for clues to support the author's purpose. So right now, ask yourself, when you read Pedal Power, was it to answer a question? Was it to explain something, or was it to describe something? And it's okay that sometimes you can have more than one answer. When I think about this, I believe that it wasn't to answer a question, but it was to explain how pedal power works, and it was actually to describe how it works too. So I'm going to go with explain and describe. And then what they did was, as I read what is energy on page 421 of pedal power, I look for clues that help me figure out the author's purpose, and I can write them in the chart below. Now, I'm not asking you guys to write the chart in, but we'll kind of work on this together. So one of the clues that this student gave us was that the author explains that energy can come from the sun, from wind, water, and from people. So, and I'm giving you guys a clue right here. It gives the word explain. So that's kind of a clue right there. So if the author is explaining those, what was the point of the story? What was the author's purpose? Well, it was to explain something, and it was actually to explain energy. What are they explaining about energy? Explaining how it works, where it comes from, and it also explains how you can create energy. Okay, so that was the author's purpose of this story. Okay, the next page. Expository text. So this is our genre for the week. The story was called Pedal Power, and in this expository text, we found some little text features that tell me that it's expository text. So some of the text features would be, it gives us facts and information about a topic, and it can include text features. That was so hard for me to say. So some of the text features would be subheadings. So remember, we have a title, and then we have subtitles. So a title is the main title of the story or the book, and then there will be like little titles within the story. The way that I like to remember it is there's a title, like Harry Potter. We're reading Harry Potter right now. So the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is my title, but I even have subtitles within it called chapters, right? So I'll have chapter 1, and it'll tell me the chapter, and I know that that's what chapter 1 is about. So subheadings or subtitles are what that area is going to be talking about. So if I look at a chapter book, The chapter's title is going to tell me what that part of the chapter is about. Same thing with the subheading. If I look at the subheading right here, which is called bicycle powered energy, I know that this page is going to be talking about bicycle powering and it creating energy. So I'm going to learn all about a bicycle that creates energy, okay? So once again, text features will include subheadings, or I call them subtitles sometimes. I'm sorry, subheadings or a subtitle. And then they'll include like a diagram, and a diagram is usually like a picture or a drawing of something and shows how something works with labels. So right here we have an illustration or a drawing of a bicycle, and these are little labels that point to certain things. So the point of this diagram is to show me a picture of what they're talking about, and then to show the different parts of what they're talking about within the text. So they're going to talk about a generator. Well, in my mind, I want to create a picture of what the generator looks like. So they're kind of doing that for you. So just to remember, expository text is text that gives facts and information about a topic. And some of the text features will include subheadings, a diagram, and labels. Okay? Our vocabulary strategy for the week is going to be paragraph clues. Kind of like context clues, like I mentioned, but we're going to be looking at an entire paragraph to give us some clues for words that we might not know. It says that you can use a paragraph clue to figure out the meaning of new words. Think about what you have learned from the whole paragraph and use words that you know to help you understand this new word. So exactly what you're going to do, you're going to look at the entire paragraph to give you guys clues. So you're going to kind of put on your little magnifying glass. You're going to find those clues within an entire paragraph, okay? Here's a little example we're going to do together. It says to figure out what the word transferred means, I look to the sentences in the paragraph. So we're trying to figure out what transferred means. Here's the paragraph. You use your legs to push the pedals. Your energy is transferred to the bike. The shift of power or energy makes the bike move. So I need to figure out what transferred means. If I just look at the sentence, your energy is transferred to the bike, there are no clues that help me. Nothing in there that helps me figure out. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to look at the bigger picture of the entire paragraph. So the clues that they said was legs to push the pedals. So you need something to push the pedals. And then what happens is shift of power of energy. So as I'm pushing the pedals, they're saying that energy and power is shifted over. It's sent over. So in that case, transferred means to move, right? To move, right here it says to move from one place to another. So it starts with me pushing it, and then it moves into creating energy. So that's what we're going to be doing. I believe you're going to need to know that for your comprehension test this week, okay? Kind of do that this week when you're reading your selection test story. If you don't know a word, see if you can find clues within a paragraph to help you. Even if you know a word, challenge yourself to see if you can find clues within that paragraph to help you maybe understand that word, okay? Cool, I think that's it for our Tuesday reading. So now what I want you guys to do is go ahead and pull out your term practice workbooks and a red pen, and we're going to go over these together. We need to first start off with 261, but my pages are a little bit off. Yes. Okay, here we go. All right, so let me stop you guys. If you have not done your workbook pages, pause my video right now. Pause it. I'm not going to do the work for you. There's no point. I already know these words. I already know how to do this. The whole point is that you guys learn. So if you guys have not done this work, please pause my video, finish your work, and then play it to make corrections. I want to make sure that you guys are understanding this. Remember, if you guys are ever struggling, like today, I had one of my friends that did not understand, jumped on my Zoom meetings, and I walked her through. That's why I'm here for my Zoom meetings, okay? If your parents are not home to help you, jump on my Zoom meetings. I will help you, okay? So let's go ahead and go over pages in your term practice workbook, 261 and 262, and then we'll do 267 to 270. So once again, if you've not completed your work, pause my video and then replay it once you're finished, okay? Here comes Rafi to say hi. Rafi, I'm teaching a lesson. Thank you. All right, here we go. All right, so here are your vocabulary words. We have electricity, energy, flows, hall, power, silent, solar, and underground. You guys should have put in the words to make the sentences make sense. If you made any mistakes, especially in spelling, just go ahead and make a correction in a red pen. So number one, I'm just gonna read the words that go in the sentence. Ralphie, sit. Thank you. Okay, number one, will you help me haul these bags of leaves to the shed? Number two, we can get energy from eating healthful foods. Number three, the classroom was silent during the test. Number four, moving water has the power to move rocks. Number five, worms make their homes underground. Number six, a river flows through the middle of the city. Number seven, the man set up a solar panel on the roof of his house to collect the sun rays. And number eight, we cannot turn on a light without electricity. Okay, so those are your vocabulary words used in a sentence. The next thing we're going to do is go over your spelling, CVCE syllables. We're also going to be talking about prefixes and suffixes, and I'll do that little chime song for you guys in just a second. So before I forget, this week, remember we were talking about CVCE syllables. So words that contain a consonant, vowel, consonant, E spelling within it, okay? Circle 4 words in the box that have a vowel, consonant, E syllable, and then write the syllables in each circled word. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure this out because they changed. Let's see. So you should have circled compete, replace, arrive, and pollute. And I'm going to just check this out really quickly to see why they didn't do tiger. A syllable that has the vowel consonant E pattern often has the long vowel sound. So long vowel sound of E in the word excite. Or in this case, it has a long vowel sign of an I, excite. The syllable sight has a long I sound. Okay, I get this. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out why tiger is not one of them. Tiger. I guess because the E is not, Well, I'm stumped on this one. Circle 4 words. So you should have circled compete, replace, arrive, and pollute. And then let's see, because we have a vowel consonant E. Compete with a long E. Okay. Ava Tyler, if you're watching this, I messed you up on tiger. I'm so sorry, babe. So what I forgot to read in the directions was not only is it supposed to be a vowel consonant E, but it actually needs to have a long vowel sound. So compete has a long E sound. The reason why tiger's not it, because tiger, the E right here is not a long E sound. That's kind of confusing because it was a long I. So I'm sorry, babe, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. Replace has a long A. I'm really bothered about tiger. I'm going to look into that. I want to know why. And then arrive has a long I, and pollute. See, it shouldn't be pollute. Anyways, I'm going to look into this, guys. I'm so sorry. This doesn't make sense. So we have compete, arrive, and remember the reason why you would say it as arrive, but remember when it's a double consonant, you have to break up the double consonants, guys. Replace, pollute. Once again, it has a double consonant. You have to break it up, okay? My friends, I'm going to look into this one because I kind of don't agree with the tiger and the pollute. So I'm going to look into that for you guys. Remember when we were working with prefixes, root words, and suffixes, remember my little chime in class goes prefix, root word, suffix. So the prefix comes before a root word, and then the suffix comes after the root word. Some of the prefixes that we're talking about is the prefix re, which means again and again. There's also a prefix un and dis. Un means not, and dis is typically opposite of, and sometimes they can be used interchangeably. So you could say un could be opposite of, and dis could be not. Suffixes, which comes after the root word, full means full of, less means without. So full of joy. So I'm going to find right here, it says full of. So I'm going to put the root word before that. So I'm going to say joyful, okay? Number 6 says not wise. So I'm going to find not right here. And I got to figure out which one would go before wise. Which one sounds better? Unwise or diswise? Diswise is not a word, so you should have gone with unwise. Without fear. So let's find the word without, and it's a suffix. So it's going to come after the root word of fear. So fearless. Number 8 says to visit again. So again is a prefix. So the prefix re is going to go before, visit. So revisit. And then the opposite of approve, it could be either un or dis. So unapprove or disapprove. Well, the one that you should go with is disapprove. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is your fluency. You can do at home with your parents. All right. So genre, text features. Remember, we were talking about expository text this week. So, all right, let's see what we're going to read. Each can counts. Recycling a can means that the same material can be used again, reused. Energy is not wasted getting new materials to make a new can. The energy saved by recycling one can may run a TV for 3 hours, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I need to reread this because I was so confused by Ralphie kind of messing with me. So I'm actually going to use our strategy of rereading. Each can counts. Recycling a can means that the same material can be used again. Energy is not wasted getting new materials to make a new can. The energy saved by recycling one can may turn on a TV for 3 hours, okay? So here's a little picture or a diagram. They have a person throwing something away. There's a recycle sign that says recycle one can. Next, less energy is used. So here's a little factory that's probably remaking stuff with the cans. And it says saved energy runs a TV. So by them reusing it, they've actually been able to use that energy to run a TV instead. How do you know this is expository text? I'm going to read what they wrote, and I'll tell you other information I would get. Keep in mind, you guys should be pausing my video or doing this with me, okay? So how do I know that this is an expository text? It gives facts and information about recycling cans and saving energy. You can also tell me that it has a diagram with labels. So you don't need to write that whole thing. I would take one of those answers. So it gives me facts and information, or it has a diagram and labels, okay? Why is it important to recycle cans? So you're going to go back into the text to figure out why it's important. The energy saved by recycling one can turn a TV on for 3 hours. So you could tell me by recycling cans, those materials can be used again. It's kind of important to recycle because then we're going to have trash everywhere, right? So you could tell me that it's important because materials can be used again. What information does the diagram show? Well, it shows a person recycling. It shows how less energy is used, and it shows how the energy runs on TV. So ultimately, you could tell me this diagram shows me how recycling one can save energy and run a TV. This one says it shows how recycling a can saves the energy needed to run a TV. Perfect. 4 says, what action does the first label tell us about? So here's the first action, and it tells us how you should recycle a can. It tells about a person recycling one can. Okay. All right, there's your genre. All right, so here is your paragraph clues. Remember, we are looking for clues within a paragraph. Look at this example of context clues in a paragraph. The underlined words help explain what energy means. So they have it in bold print right here. We use energy every day to do work. With energy, we can turn on a light, heat a room, cook food, and run a computer. So what they did was they underlined clues that maybe told them what the word energy means. So they said energy clues from this paragraph would be to do work, turn on a light, heat a home, cook food, run a computer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to read each paragraph and write the meaning of the word in bold print. Make sure that you underline context clues that helped you out. So let's look at number 1. Number 1 says, yes, energy can come from the ocean. There are not many ocean power plants right now, but the ocean is a big source of energy. So we want to know what the word source means. So kind of go back in here. Let's read the sentence again. But the ocean is a big source of energy. So we're talking about the ocean and how it's a source. I don't know what source means, so let's go back into the text. Okay, I was just checking to see if that's one of your vocab words. So source, right here says energy can come from the ocean. So we know, I probably would have underlined energy can come from the ocean, but they just put can come from an ocean, and that's fine. That's probably all I would have underlined too. So what's the definition of source? A place where something comes from, okay? So in this case, it's energy can come from it, but they're saying source in general is where something comes from, okay? We've got the word tides, and I know I'm showing you the answer, I'm sorry. The ocean has high and low tides. This means that the water rises and falls every 12 hours. This tidal energy can be used to make power. So tides, they gave us the clue of the water rises and falls every 12 hours. What would you use to describe tides? The rising and falling of ocean water every 12 hours. So you could tell me when ocean water rises or when it falls every 12 hours, okay? All right, so go ahead and pause my video. I want you guys to work on numbers 3 and 4 by yourself. Yeah, 3 and 4 by yourself in your workbook page. So number 3 says, the movement of ocean waves can run a machine built to produce power. The waves move up and down inside the machine. They spin parts of the machine. The machine makes electricity. So what does electricity mean? Go ahead and underline clues, and then I want you to tell me the definition. So pause my video, and I'm going to pause mine to do it too. Okay, so hopefully you guys had at least a number 3 and number 4. If number 3 is fine, then we could pause it for the next one. So what I did when I went back into the paragraph, I said that a clue for electricity would be, I think I put machines. Oh, to produce power. What did they put? To produce, yeah, they put to produce power right here. So I said electricity means to produce power. And then so definition would be to power things or the power to run things. I put to power things, okay? Number 4, pause my video if you didn't get a chance to do this one. Number 4 says the water temperature on the ocean surface is warmer than below. That's because the sun heats the water on top. Deep below the surface, the water is very cold. So go ahead and pause my video and underline clues and write a definition for the word surface. Okay, so from my paragraph for number 4, I said some clues for the word surface. I actually underlined the word below, and I also underlined the word on top as clues. And then a definition I said was the top of something. What did they say? They said, okay, they underlined below. They also underlined on top. I also underlined below the surface, by the way. That was another clue I did. And then the word surface means the top part of something, okay? All right, here's our draft model. Remember, everyone's answers are different, so I'm not going to give you guys a full answer, but I'll give you an example of mine. It says, read the draft model, use the questions that follow the draft to help you think about adding content words. So we're going to be adding more details and more words. So the draft model reads, a radio needs something to make it work. It can run on electricity. It can also run on a battery. Some radios have sun panels to charge the batteries. So the question number 1 says, what content words can you add to tell about a radio? Whoopsies. Give me a second. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Okay, here we go. Okay, so when I'm asking you guys for content, I'm asking you guys for information that you know. So for example, let's see, what content words can you add to tell about a radio? So kind of think about what you know about a radio. Think about a radio in a car, maybe a radio like a handheld radio, maybe the radio from your phones. So all you're doing is like adding information for content, okay? So what content words can you add to tell about a radio? So maybe my radio that I'm going to be talking about is my iPhone radio. So for example, an iPhone radio needs something to make it work, okay? Number 2 says, what content words can you add to tell about electricity? Well, remember, things that we learned about with electricity is we know that electricity can be electricity from wind, powered by wind. It could be powered by bikes, powered by the sun. So kind of think about ways that you know about electricity. So it can run on electricity powered by wind. Okay, that's just something that I know. I'm just adding content in. It can also run on a battery. Think about a battery that you know. We just read about a pedal power battery. So maybe you could say it can also run on a battery that has been charged from a bike pedal. Okay, so all you're doing as content is adding stuff that you already know. So think about things that we've read this week. We've read about pedal power. We've read about how electricity can come from the wind, can come from sun. It can also come from water, if you know that. I'm trying to think what else we read about. So that's what I would be adding here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that information in. An iPhone radio needs something to make it work. It can run on electricity, which can be powered by the wind or the sun. It can also run on a battery, and batteries can be created by bicycle energy or bicycle generators. Some radios have a sun panel to charge the battery. So that's all you have to do is you're just adding in that extra information. So that's all I did. And it's not going to be a long one this time. It's just adding in information that you know. So maybe even after where it says it can run on electricity, your next sentence can say electricity can be powered by the sun, by wind, and by water. And people. I think we read about people, right? So all you're doing is adding in information. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is on page 270. You were reading, oh, this is a very short one. You're going to be reading a response from Hector, and Hector is answering a prompt for how do people depend on Earth for energy. You're going to be reading Hector's response, and then I want you to pause my video, and I want you to answer the 4 questions right now. So pause my video and go ahead and answer the 4 questions. Actually, let me read it to you first. People depend on sunlight and the water on Earth for energy. The sun's energy goes into the water on Earth. People trap the energy in dams and use it to make electricity. Dams are where people stop water, and it kind of looks like a big pool of water. So a dam is where you stop water from moving down like a river, okay? Where was I? I'm so sorry. The electricity travels through power lines to help light our towns and cities. Water is recycled in the water cycle. It never disappears. It is always there to use. People also depend on Earth for water to drink. And the sun gives us food to eat. Plants use the sun's energy to grow. We eat the plants, then the energy is in us. People depend on Earth to give us electricity, water to drink, and food to eat. So he's talking about what's the whole point of energy. Energy is ultimately used to give us electricity on Earth. It also gives us water and food to drink, and food to eat. And it also gives us an electricity use, some kind of like tablets and stuff like that. So different like items that we might use. So right now, number 1 says circle 1 fact that Hector used from the power of water. So a fact is real life information. It's a fact. You're going to circle that. Question number 2 says draw a box around 1 content word that Hector used. So content word that gives like information. Content word, you can even have found that below up here. So content about radio, electricity, and batteries. So see if you can find that in there and put a box around it. Underline a detail Hector used to develop his point. And then number 4 says write the article that appears twice in the first sentence on the line. All right, pause my video and go ahead and answers numbers 1 through 4. Okay, red pens. All right, so number 1 says circle 1 fact that Hector used. 1 fact was water is recycled in the water cycle. So that's a fact. We know that that's actually how it works. Water is completely recycled within a water cycle. So when it rains and then it evaporates and goes back, it's the whole water cycle. So you're gonna get into that, I think, in like 4th grade. Number 2 says draw a box around 1 content word. So electricity. Remember I gave you that clue up there. They use the word electricity. You could tell me any of these electricities. They're everywhere. Number 3 says underline a detail Hector used to develop his point. Plants use the sun's energy to grow. And his whole point was saying how people depend on Earth. So that was his point of saying plants use the sun's energy. Write an article that appears twice in the first sentence. People depend on the sunlight and the water on Earth for energy. So what is the article? The right? Yeah, right here. The and the. All right, I believe that is it. That's it for your ELA. I'm going to make that little note about the page that I messed up, and I'm really sorry about that. I just really quickly, I'm going to be making a video for your math. If you can't see the coins in your math workbook pages, I kind of wrote on Class Dojo what the coins were, so if you guys need help with that, let me know. I'm also going to make a science video for Friday, and I think that's it. Remember, if you have not already, join us every day. Every day we're reading Harry Potter. So every day I have the story read to us. It's an audible, just like how we were doing it in the class, and then I share my screen of the book and some pictures too. So if you haven't joined us, join us please every day from 1 to 1:20. It's actually a lot of fun, and we're talking about it. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Make it through this last ELA week, this last difficult, challenging test week, and then we get to start something fun next week, okay? I love you guys all. I miss you, and I hope you guys have a fabulous week.